get a little bit better there, and we'll try to move the monitor in. Alright, we're gonna stop this. Alright, I am currently using NetHash Miner Legacy 1.9.0.0 or whatever the alpha is. Uh, as you can see, I'm doing, now that I shut down the GPU mining, I'm doing about 680 hashes, give or take, on the V7. The way you get to this is a couple of simple steps. Used to be real simple. You used to just go into benchmark, or no, not benchmark, you go into settings, devices, you'd go over to the devices algorithms tab, and you would click on XMR stack. Well, I guess you can still do it here. Yeah, so you got the one simple method is you can just put in enable underscore ht equals true into the extra launch parameters, uh, but that's not always good enough. Uh, what you can really do, if you want to make sure everything is set right, you come into your NiceHash miner programmer folder there, you go to bin, you come down to XMR stack. You do not want to use XMRig, it's just a complete waste of time. You come down to the CPU file, and it tells you right here, this is what a filled out configuration should look like. And then down at the bottom here is this line starting right here going to right here is your actual CPUs. And what you want to do here, you want to go with even numbers starting at 0, and the way you figure out how many you should have is you look up your CPU and you find its L3 cache. How much L3 cache does it have? In the case, and so like I would do something like I would pull up a web browser. Oh, damn, naturally, and I would Google Ryzen 1700 L3 cache. And it's going to tell me that there is 16 megabytes of L3 cache. The rule is for kryptonite mining, you need 2 megs for every core. And since this is an 8 core 16 thread, 16 megs L3 cache divided by 2 gives you 8 cores, so I get to run on all 8 cores. So I then come in here and I do cores 0, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14. If you have something like a 6700K or 7700K, you would only have 0, 2, 4, and 6. And same with like 6600K, but I'm not sure on the exact cache on those numbers to know if there needs to be fewer on those or not. And so that's your first tweak. You want to make sure all those are set right. Then you want to come over here and you want to go right click and you want to go to properties and you want to set this to read only so that NiceHash will not override it. Then the next thing you want to do, oops, I did not mean to close that. The next thing you want to do is you want to go to this website right here. I'll put a link for this in the description here later when I remember to. I'll get in there and edit it, but that should be good enough. And that's going to take you to a website that's going to have instructions for downloading it's going to have instructions for downloading, I think it's called Arcade Tools or something like that, and it walks you through how to set the memlock, or what's called large pages mod. And you do that, And then ever since then, once you've done that, anytime you launch NiceHash, you need to come in here and you need to right click and do run as administrator, or you can go to properties, compatibility, and there's a run this program as administrator setting right there, and you can apply that. And then that's your two main things that are going to give you your biggest hash rate. Once you've done that, you can go in, do your overclocking on your CPU, get it as high as you can. On Ryzen boards, some of them, I know the ones from Asus, or at least this one does. This is the X Prime X370 Pro from Asus. There's a setting in the BIOS under AI Tweaker. It's under the advanced settings, AI Tweaker, and it's right above or below where you set your CPU core multiplier for your overclock. And it's a setting called Performance BIOS. It's set to default on auto. You want to adjust that up to CB15, which is Cinebench 15. It does some tweaks to it that makes it score better on Cinebench, but it actually really helps your mining also. And so once you've done all that, and you come back in here, you can hit start, and we get up and going. And it's going to take just a minute for things to start showing up. And wham. Just right out of the gate. 687, 688 and change. And that's at 3.9 gigahertz on a Ryzen 7 1700. Now I'm going to come in here and do one other thing. I'm going to right click. I'm going to temporarily disable protection on my antivirus, just to show you something. And we let that settle out. Come on now. See if it'll do it again. I was doing it last night. I want to see if it'll get back up there again. No, I can't get it. It's not gonna go there tonight, it doesn't look like. I had this thing last night, had it all the way up to, in fact, actually, I might know what's causing that. Let me open this and completely close that. That was still running in the background. Maybe that was what was doing it. Alright, let's see, will we get there? Yes, bingo, got it. Alright. See that? 704.9 hashes. Now, agreed, this is not mining with anything else, because if you turn on anything else at all, you're completely boned. In fact, what I'll do as an example, I'll come in here, not there, and I will fire up my GPU miner. And I'll immediately see we get sucked down around the 650s. Alright, so maybe, let's see, we're sitting around in the 650 area now. When you get this fresh out of box, if you haven't done any tweaking at all, this CPU is probably doing around about 300 hashes. I know when I had a Ryzen 5 1600, which, as you guys can tell from my videos, is going into the build I'm doing for my mom, it was doing like 240 out of box after all these different tweaks that I've shown you in this video. I had the thing all the way up to about 540. And as you can see here, we're actually doing pretty good. We're settling in, I guess, closing the EVGA after setting its settings. Holy crapola. That can't be right. Sorry, just got distracted by something else. I'm seeing 50 plus mega hashes in Raven mining. That can't be possible. This thing, I've never seen this thing higher than 36. You guys, after you set your profile with Precision XOC, go ahead and close that thing, man. That thing is holding you back big time. It's holding back your hash rate on your CPU by a good 10 hashes, because I couldn't barely break 650 with it last night. I think 657 was the highest it would go with that open, even minimized down. And we're seeing in the 50s over here, where I was never seeing anything higher than 36 before. Whew, boy. Gonna have to try that out and see if it happens on my other desktop. Alright, and that's basics. That is CPU optimization 101 using Legacy. Now, if you are using NiceHash Miner 2 for some reason, you want to go into your app data, probably, I'm going to guess local, nope, I need to figure out where they put stuff, so this might just take just a minute. Let's try roaming, NiceHash M2, bin, XMR stack CPU, and then you've got the config file. Okay, so that is the config, and then we've got, let's see what's config 0. Okay, config 0 gives you some other settings. So settings might be a little bit different how you type them in here, but yeah. I personally just use Legacy. It's a lot easier to get to than digging through all this and figuring out how to set all this. So that's what I just recommend. I recommend going the other way. It just seems a lot easier. Alright, and I'm going to call it a night. I'll edit the file here once this gets processed, and so that the link will be in the description for that update for how to enable large page files, or large files, whatever the fuck it's called, I forget. Alright, signing off.